Check 1 2. Check 1 2. That's working. Looks like this is working too. Yeah, that's working. I'll turn it down here though, a little bit. Swen, what up? I see you. Give me a sec. Leonzo, I see you. Nighthawk is in the building. That is the right one. What's going on? Adam Steen in the building. Let me quickly finish this snack. Need to get that in my system before I begin. But I was running late, so I didn't want to start the stream already. This is it's called a Naked bar. Naked is the brand. It's because it's 100% natural, so no sugar added. They get all the sweetness. It's like nuts, and they added some cocoa, but not like chocolate where they have all the sugar in there, and they have like stuff like dates in there for the sweetness. It's good. All right. Live and well. It's actually doing some work here. And I might continue that while we're busy. Only thing is you can't see what I'm doing right now. So I would have to say, I would have to bring myself down a bit for a sec so you can see what I'm doing. Where's machine screen? Machine screen. Yeah. Wow, that doesn't fit. Okay, cool. Just a little project I'm working on. Daryl Williams. Okay. From LA, but your mom is Dutch. Family in Zaandam. Yo, I've done a lot of gigs in Zaandam. You know what? Let me just, maybe we'll get to machine a little bit later. Let me turn that off. I'm going to put myself back in the middle. Let me bring myself back. I should actually just make two scenes. I'll leave it like that for now. Yeah, Zaandam. I've done so many gigs in Zaandam. I have a lot of history in Zaandam. We did our own events in Zaandam for years in a club called the Kade. I had a residency in a club/bar called Flamingo. It had like 10 other names after that. Also some gigs in the Hemkade, also Zaandam. Did a lot in Zaandam. And Zaandam is like so close to Amsterdam. It is really around the corner. All right, enough of that ASMR smacking sound. Let me get rid of that. This right here in the background is the XDJ RX3. And I did my set on that this Monday, so 2 days ago. You can still see that on my Twitter, by the way. All the video replays are up on Twitter. So twitter.com/DJ TLM. Monday set was on that, and I used it. It's a standalone unit, so I used it with 2 flash drives. It has 2 USB ports, so you can put in 2 flash drives. They both have music that was prepared in Record Box. And yeah, man, So I've been on a bit of a pioneer run. The week before that, I did the CDJ 3000s with the VM10. But I really like this standalone player. It's super dope. Let's see. Have you uploaded any beginner DJ transitions step-by-step tutorial? I mean, of course, you see my mix tutorial series, right? So I do cover it. I cover it in that. Then I have my video where I do the difference between the transition or dropping it on the one, and then I do show a transition. So what would be missing for you right now? What you would like to see that's not in my current tutorials? Hey, we got Team EVGA in the building. What's going on, fam? What's going on? What's going on? Let's see. Earl Whiff, what's going on? Oh, you have a long question. I just read over the question. Let me get back. Long question. I'm interested in doing a few DJ gigs with friends. For definitely not a lot and not going pro. For speakers, I've been quoted for a home mobile setup. Money isn't an issue, but I mostly don't want to have a bunch of equipment in my garage gathering dust. Should I invest in a proper sound setup or just a single JBL party box? So you're talking 2 gigs a year, less than 30 people. I would definitely not invest in a proper sound setup unless you're like an audiophile who needs to have like the most incredible quality. I mean, when was it? A couple of weeks ago, I was at a local joint here. It's not a club. It's a store called Mr. Mokum. It's around the corner from my studio, and I've done a gig there during Amsterdam Dance Event, like a pop-up. And for that, they had like an entire setup, a system with like woofers and the whole nine. But then the other day, they had like some sort of pop-up event, and they had like some sort of like JBL 2 speakers. They were pretty large format, but I think they were even like wireless. That was plenty to fill a room, and you can fit like, well, if you want to cram it up, you can fit more than 50 people in there. But let's say you had like 20, 30 people in there and you have plenty of sound. There are like nice systems like that out there that'll give you plenty of volume, especially if the room is not too big or just not too large of a space. Because I do think, but I'm not a speaker expert at all, but with like smaller speakers, if you're, let's say, in an outdoors area, then the sound might get lost. You might lose some of your sound. If you're in a closed off area, like a room, the sound will be contained in the space a little bit easier. But I mean, I've seen a lot of people like hire setups for small events, and most of the times it was total overkill. I did a gig, one of my few gigs last year at a conference, and this is a conference like, it's a giant hall filled with like different brands that were there. It was like a millionaire fair, so you had all sorts of brand there. So you'll have like Mercedes over here, then you'll have some sort of interior decorating thing over there. Then you have someone selling yachts over here. And then you had like a big section was for a diamond brand, a jewelry brand out of Amsterdam, Hassan Diamonds. And they had like, I think 30 different stands for all the brands they sell. Now, I was DJing at one of the stands that was just for one of their internal brands. And they asked me to hire like everything. They wanted me as a DJ, but they didn't have anything. So normally I don't do like mobile, quote unquote, mobile gigs. For this, I actually hired a setup, and I had like 2 big woofers with like the tripod on top and like big tweeters. And this was a setup for they in the brochure, it's like for 100 to 150 people. Man, I don't think I went past level 1 on the back with the volume, and I didn't even activate the subwoofer. And I already had a ton of sound to go around, because it's not their intent to blast music throughout the hall. You're not even supposed to really bother the people next to you. It was only for that surrounding area. But that area was big enough to fit like 30, 50 people. They walk by most of the times, but that setup was already basically overkill because, like I said, I did not get that volume up, and I didn't even activate the woofer. They have like quite a bit of bass in the normal speakers, but then if you want that extra oomph, you can activate the subwoofer. I didn't even use that. So yeah, if you're doing 2 gigs a year with 30 people, I don't know. I wouldn't, because like you said, the rest of the year it's going to be just gathering dust there. But like, if money isn't an issue and you like to have fun and you want to have the ability to crank it up more, I mean, you could invest in something that is going to give you proper sound, but it doesn't have to be expensive. So like, I'm not familiar with the JBL Party Box. And if that's a single device, I would probably go for something at least that will give you like that nice stereo field instead of having like one box with the sound coming out of it. But beyond that, I can't give you a recommendation because I'm just so not into that world. But my thought would be, if it's like only 2 times a year, you don't want to have like a big set of woofers and tweeters and everything that will take up space. That's what I'm thinking, at least. DJ Z, salute. And Leonzo, you're missing. What are you missing? What you're missing is being able to cue drop the next track in. Let's see. Cue drop the next track in. Sometimes things get lost in translation, and sometimes I'm just not really familiar with the term because I'm not sure what you mean by cue drop the next track in. So could you explain that a little bit more? A good evening to Mixmaster G. And Teamy VJ says, I take my craft seriously, but I'm realistic here. Not sure about the quality of these prosumer party speakers. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm not sure about the JBL Party Box. I haven't used that. But you don't have to spend a ton of money to get like 2 nice speakers that will give you plenty of sound and don't take up a ton of space. So it doesn't have to be that big woofer and tweeter type setup. So yeah. I'm trying to think if anything comes to mind, but I have to say no, it's not coming to mind right now. If I do think of something, I'll send you a message. And otherwise, chat, if you would have to get like just a set of speakers, that will be very suitable just to have like a party at the house with like 30 people in one of the larger rooms of the house. I mean, I know for a fact that I can use my RM7s here, and these aren't even like DJ speakers. They're Pioneer's reference, just studio monitor speakers. I know I could use these with a room with 30 people and get a good sound out of it. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty of speakers out there that'll get the job done. And it will probably sound better than one of those party, quote unquote, party speakers. Nighthawk says, I had to turn down a few gigs due to not the right pay. Any advice on how to possibly get the amount asked? $200 per hour for summer camp. Asked some buddies. They said that's a good price. Live in Georgia, in the USA. Internet has no info on the price for a summer camp. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Didn't catch that in time. My bad, peeps. I have my other screen. You know what? I'm not using machine. Let me just get my screen over here. Get my OBS over here. That way I can actually see what's happening. Because right now I can't. And I got all these cameras here. So my bad, guys. Just wanted to go for a different setup, but I'm using the M50 again. The other cameras won't go off, but this one will. So Nighthawk, yeah. Like when it comes to pricing, like summer camps, I have no idea. It is a fact that you're going to run into different prices in different areas. That being said, you should find your own worth as well. And if you feel that the amount that they're willing to pay you is just not enough for you, then you should just turn down the gig indeed. Now, if you do find out that everyone is paying that price and you don't like that price, then people either are just not willing to pay that for you, or it's the wrong type of market for you. Because like I said, you need to find your own worth, and you could just value yourself at a certain price. But if that price is too high for the entire area, then you have to find another solution. And then either you will have to drop your price or find gigs in a different area. But yeah, I'm like summer camps. I can't say that I have any experience playing at summer camps. Pricing is very regional. Yes, your peeps, local fame, and do you bring equipment? Also variables. Yeah. So again, like I said as well, like I have no idea about what would be the price for something like that. Leonzo, slam mixing the next track in. So I think you need to just check my mixing versus dropping it on the one video on YouTube. I have a video that shows the difference between doing a transition where you're mixing or just dropping it without mixing the two tracks, just dropping it on the one. That video, I do show that. So it's called, I think it's called, I'm going to look it up. It's something like mixing versus dropping it on the one. But let me quickly see. YouTube, my channel. Well, it actually doesn't say, it says your channel. Videos, let me see. I'll just type drop. Beat matching versus dropping it on the one. Beat matching versus dropping it on the one. That is the title of the video. That's the one we're looking for. Can I bring my screen up here? Let me get another window capture in here for a sec. We'll call that Edge. Yes. Where is Edge? Here. And pick this one. Thank you. So you can see it there at the top. That's the one I'm talking about. It's called beat matching versus dropping it on the one. And I actually see I have another video called dropping it on the one, but that's, oh no, that's a podcast clip. No, so you need to have that top one on my channel. That one will show you what we were just talking about. Jefferson, what up, what up? I'm good. Quick question, which is a better controller for beginner DJs? The DDJ Rev 1 or the Impulse 500? Oh, I'm not sure. They are different controllers. They are different controllers. They both have a lot of features. Now, I'm not sure what the Hercules of the Impulse 500, which software it all works with. I believe they have their own, Hercules has their own dejuiced software, which I still haven't really tried. Then I do believe they work with Algorithm DJ and maybe a bunch more. The Rev 1 is for Serato. So I don't know, there's a difference there. Maybe you have a preference for software. Damn, I have the 300, which I never fully tested, and it did have a couple of nice features. I mean, I love the layout on the Revs on that Rev 1, but I don't know if there's one better. I do believe you really have to compare the features that you get and check to see which software runs on it, and maybe that can help you out. But I haven't used the 500. I have the Rev 1 here, but I haven't even tested it yet. So it's really hard for me to like point you in a direction when it comes to these two. Chris on the mix, salute. And let's see what else we have here. I'm actually working on my production skills, working a song called Dark Waters using FL Studio. FL Studio is also one of those DAWs I still haven't tested. And I mean, I remember from back in the days from Fruity Loops, and they've evolved quite extensively. I wanted to say Richard Doctor, salute. At Random, what's going on? Vinyl Touch in the building. And we have Joselito Hernandez in the building. What's going on, fam? Let's see. Costa Rica, what up? Mo SFG in the building. SVG, my bad. I have a question. I will have an audition tomorrow. What advice do I have for you? An audition? Wait, what type of audition? Like a DJing audition? And so, Mo, I would love to hear some more info when it comes to this. So this is a DJ audition, and who are you auditioning for? Is this like, are you going to a club, and do you have to play for them there? Because I'm honestly not that familiar with like DJ auditions. And Ed Random says, +1 for beat matching. Take them on a journey. Oh, yeah. I mean, it just depends on the track. It just depends on the track. Like certain tracks, you just don't want to mix because it doesn't always help. So, for instance, if a track has a really nice intro and I'm only now noticing the mess behind me with the wires there. But if a track has a really iconic intro and you really want to make sure that the crowd can hear that intro, it doesn't always work if you mix that intro into a track that's already playing. With certain intros, you just want to have that intro play on its own. And for that occasion, I would rather drop it on the one instead of mixing it in. And sometimes you're dealing with a track that might just start with vocals immediately. So it's going to be really hard to mix it into the other song unless the other song had like a nice clean intro. And then the moment you bring it in, you cue the other track back to the beginning. So at the second you drop your new track, the current track goes back to its intro and then you just beat match there. I do that a lot during my streams. But if the other track also doesn't really have like a clean intro, so if you would match the two, you're going to get clashing vocals. Then you want to go for that dropping it on the one. Kelly Kell, Leonzo says go with the Impulse 500. Nighthawk says depends on what software you use. Kelly Kell, it's my pleasure. This is a lot of fun for me, and I'm always trying to learn. And let's see, DJs are such consumers nowadays. In what way? That they always want to have the new stuff? Because that is a fact, though. Like, a lot of DJs are really drawn anytime something new comes out. Let's see. Swen says, when I take Phase to the club where there's only a mixer, is there a solution that I can get Q points nevertheless? Hold up. You take Phase to the club and there's only a mixer. Is there a solution to get Q points? So you're talking about using Phase with turntables and they have a mixer, but the mixer doesn't have like performance paths to trigger the Q points and how you can then still activate your Q points? If that's the case, let's say, for instance, you go to a club, they have turntables and they have a DJM 900 Nexus 2 mixer, and you bring Phase. That mixer doesn't have like any buttons for Q points. If that is the case, and you don't have like something extra like a Pioneer SP1 or something like that, then you're left with the option of using your laptop and using the keys on your laptop. Like, you can use keys, I think 1 to 5 for deck 1 and 6 to 0 for deck 2. and you have to trigger your cue points from your laptop. It's not the greatest solution, but it could work. Okay, the Impulse also uses Serato DJ Lite. DJ Unreal, I appreciate that extra info. So it works with Lite, it works with Dejuiced, and if I'm not mistaken, they work with Algorithm DJ as well. How do you protect your hearing as a DJ? I sometimes have ringing in my ears after playing longer sets. DJ, I think it's a great question, and it is something we have to really, really, really pay attention to. So funny that you ask. I just happen to have this laying here, and this is something that can protect your hearing. Now, I have to preface that I do not use these when I'm DJing. I've used these for a lot of live shows, and I'm going to try to get this up to the camera so you can see a little bit better. That right there, but with that color on my hand, it's not really showing that well. But these are custom in-ears, custom like ear plugs. So these have been made to fit my ear perfectly. So they inject your ear with a kind of liquid that solidifies, and then they take it out. They turn that into a mold, and then they can make this to be the exact shape of your ear canal, so it will fit perfectly in your ear. They have different filters you can put in here, and I have a set that is, I believe, -5, -15, and -20 dB, something like that. Now, if you take that -20 dB, it eliminates a lot of the sound. Now, I use these at a certain point. I was doing a lot of live shows with brain power with an entire live band. Now, you have to imagine, when you're on stage with an entire band, you are creating a lot of sound, and a lot of sound like close to you. So if you have a guitar player, that guitar player has his own amps and he's blasting. There's a drummer most of the time behind me or to the left or right of me drumming. Now, I'm not like that far away from the drummer, so I'm hearing the drums loud. I'm hearing that guitar. Then you have a keyboard player with monitors. Then you have the bass player with his amp, his monitors. Then you have Brainpower's mic, you have my mic, and sometimes we even had a second backup MC. So you have a lot of vocals going through all these monitors. You're creating a lot of sound on stage, and you're standing right in the middle of it. If I'm DJing by myself, I can turn my monitor down, turn it up when I need to. But with a full band, I don't have control of the sound that they're making. So during those gigs, this helped me out a lot. I don't like using them because they do eliminate a lot of the sound, and I've tried that for DJing, but if you have those in and then you put your headphones on, it just sounds really weird. When I'm in the DJ booth, I have control of my audio, and I will control the volume, and I just don't play my monitors that loud. I want them loud enough so I can hear everything, but if I don't need to have them on that loud, I will turn them down. Now, if you have to spend a lot of time in an environment where you just don't have enough control of the sound, or you play with other DJs and when you're not playing, they're blasting the sound, and you don't really have an option to step away from the booth, then you need to get some hearing protection so that whenever you're not playing, that you can then at least have them. I know that when and I don't do a lot, but the last time I went to like a major festival, I took my my oldest son. This was like right before the pandemic in that year, and I just brought my hearing protection, and I just bought some for him, not custom. But so when we're walking through these big like tents and halls where they're playing loud music, we have this to protect our ears, because when that hearing is gone, you're not getting it back, and you have to try to protect that. And when you have the ringing in your ears, I've been there. I mean, I've gotten home from gigs, and then you once I got in bed, all of a sudden you get that beep. It has happened, but not that much, fortunately. All right, Mo. So you're auditioning for the club, And I have to follow up with more questions. So how much experience do you have playing for people? Is this your first time playing for people? And is that for the promoters, owners of the club? Because I can imagine that can be a pretty scary scary experience in that case. BJ events, is it smoking in the back or is that on purpose? No, that's just incense. So yes, that is on purpose. And I'm actually gonna kill this right now. Otherwise it gets a little bit too heavy. Love that knock champa, man. All right. Where was it? Leonzo says, do you know anything about radio DJ broadcasting? Yes, I have radio experience. I've done radio. I've done mix shows on several radio stations. So I know a little bit, but I do also know that radio is different in different places. But I know a little bit. So if you have a specific question, I would say shoot. Ray Hammer Time was good. What would be your process for making a 30-minute promotional mixtape? I'm new to this, and most people don't really explain that clearly. Could be any genre, but mainly hip-hop and R&B. So that process, and I think even though it wasn't specifically for mixtapes, it was more for mixes. I have a couple of my podcast episodes, my pretty recent podcast episodes. I need to follow those up with more, actually. And I had a new one, and I was editing it, and somehow I wasn't happy with it, so I wanted to re-record, and I still haven't done that. So I'm kind of lacking when it comes to my podcast. But I did a bunch of episodes in a row that focused on track selection, prepared sets, and I do believe that info can be useful for you for making a mixtape as well. It doesn't cover everything. Like, it's not like a step-by-step how I record. But yeah, so episode 87 is selecting songs for a set. Now, that could be a set, but that could also be for a mixtape. So selecting songs. The next episode is preparing music for a set. So preparing music meaning that you're going to add cue points, set loops, listen to the music well to see if there's any points in there that you could use for anything specific. And episode 89 is about planning a prepared set. Now, if you're going to create a mixtape, that is a prepared thing. So those are actually the episodes you should check out. So episode 87, 88, and 89. You can find my podcast on Anchor.fm, on my SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/DJ TLM. But it's also available on like all streaming platforms. So anything from Spotify to Podbean, Stitcher, you name it. And it's called Share the Knowledge. Share the Knowledge podcast for DJs. This is Share the Knowledge Live. This is the live Q&A. And the podcast is the Share the Knowledge podcast. And Ray, I am planning to do a video to talk about recording, but I have not done that yet. All right, if anyone can help Nighthawk with this question, maybe someone already has. Nighthawk has a question about a couple of genres of music. And, okay, CMM. What are CMM songs? Probably if you tell me, I'm like, oh, of course. Disco, folk. So if anyone can help Nighthawk, do it. All right, Swen says yes. And I already forgot if I asked Swen anything. Okay, yeah, okay. And I think I already answered that. That was about the mixer. Cool. Daryl Williams, I have my own sound system, 5K watts that fills a small or medium room. How do you recommend I approach venues to get a night going? I'm in LA, so lots of options, but also lots of competition. So to get a night going, like to have your own event at that venue? Is that what you're talking about? want to get back to Mo. Let's see if Mo. Oh yeah, here we go. So it's auditions for in a club. I think they want to listen to my music, and I've been DJing for 3 years in Korea. I'm a hip hop DJ / open format. What else should I add to myself and add about getting an audition? But you have to do that audition in the club. You have to play for them. That's a new one for me. But okay, look, if you have 3 years of DJing or experience DJing in Korea, then this is not your first time playing for people. So you should be safe there. That's not the new thing. And beyond that, I don't know. I suggest you show them what you can do. So you just play. Now, I do think it's important that you have a little bit of information. So if that is a specific club, you should probably know what kind of music they're used to. What are they actually looking for? Because if you're a hip hop DJ and you play a hip hop set, but that's not what they're looking for, then the audition won't make a lot of sense. Yeah, be honest, I'm just not really used to hearing about DJ auditions, mostly because a lot of DJs will have like material online, so someone can just go check a mix and hear like, okay, this is what that DJ does. So it's hard for me to give you like special pointers for this, like what you could add. But now you're also saying like add about getting an audition, but you also have an audition, already have that audition, right? You're going to have that, I think you said tomorrow. So I'm not sure what to add to that actually. And Sven says, is there something like extra mini controller with cue points only? You have small controllers out there. Okay, Mixmaster G already mentioned one I see, like a Korg Nano Pad. I used to use the Novation Dicers, really like those. Used those for a long time. DJ Sling from Nairobi in the building, salute. And ever think about getting a skin for your controller / unit? Yeah, I mean, I've done that multiple times in the past I did it for one of my sets. So I did it for my DJM 909 and my SL1200 turntables. And I had the laptop I had at the time, which was a black MacBook. I had like the same design on everything. The turntables were like deck plates. Let me see. Let me check if they're here. All right, so they actually are, because my SLs aren't here, but these are like special, like it's acrylic type of material. But this design, oh wait, my 909 is here. Hold up, I'm gonna get this out of the way. I don't want to accidentally hit something and turn off my stream. So this was on top of the turntable. Let me put it up the right way. So, tempo slider, everything. And my 909. All right. So here's one of the turntables. So that will be over there. And there we go. Now this is the old logo, but this was the logo at that time. So you have my 909. And then you would have the turntables right next to it. Same design, and then my laptop would be here, and that had the exact same design on it as well. I have plans to do this with some of my equipment, not this design, but to do stuff like that. because it is it's fun. It looks dope. But I haven't gotten around to do that with more of my equipment yet. I don't think. Did I do anything? Yeah, I did buy like a set of custom deck plates, uh, um, like a piano finish, but it was red for SLs as well that you could just put on like a metal deck plate. It's it's something I will do with more of my equipment, but it's like a luxury thing. So it's an extra investment. And in the last years, I haven't been in a position to say like, hey, let me just spend like quite an amount of extra money just to have a nice color on like a mixer or player. So it's like on my wish list. I have ideas what I would like to do with some of the equipment I have. Swen says my goal is to have equipment that ensures I have a good possibility to scratch and I have cue point independent of the club stuff. At the best, I can take everything in a light backpack. I mean, I do that with my mixer a lot. I can play with a 900 Nexus 2 easily. They're in all the clubs. But when I'm booked, I'll ask for turntables, and I'll let them know that I prefer to have, it used to be an S9, now I could say like S9, S7, S11, one of those. Most of the time they don't have it, so I bring the mixer. And yes, that mixer will allow me to use DVS. It has all of the performance pads, so I have my cue points and everything there. So yeah, now I can't carry that in a light backpack because you want to protect it well. But it is what I prefer to do, to play with that. Eves, this Saturday I have to play. I'm using Beatport Link and BeatSource Link, but I can't take my laptop with me. Ooh, okay. That means I have to play with USB. Problem, I can't put the music from Link on the USB. No. That means that I have to buy it. The reason why I use Link is that I don't have to buy it. So this is the downside of using a streaming service. The streaming service requires a computer. And if you're going to have to play with USB, so just out of curiosity, why do you have to play with USB and why can't you use your laptop? Because, for instance, if they have CDJs there, CDJs work with a laptop as well. But okay, whatever the case may be, this is why it is still important to build your own collection as well. For me, the streaming services are a great add-on. It gives you access to more music, music that you don't have in your collection that you just need for a certain gig. That's dope. But you do want to have your own collection so you're safe when it comes to situations like this. So, I mean, I don't know a real solution right now if you use that and you can't use a computer. Dang. Yeah, that's a rough one, yo. B&J Events about scratching. How do you learn to get different rhythms on the crossfader and your hand? I have a lot of problems to get new rhythms. All right. So, I mean, this does come with practice, though. Like, I do understand that it's also a possibility that at a certain point you just get stuck in a certain flow. I have that a lot, that I'll end up doing the same type of scratches a lot. But practice does help. Like I started out and I could do like maybe one or two different type of patterns. Rhythmically, I didn't have that much yet. And over time, that grew with a lot of practice. So how long have you been scratching and how long have you been scratching and how often do you have the chance to practice? That's what I'd like to know first. as a club DJ, how do you get into DJing for the radio? That is DJ I. And the question right below that is, what skills will I need to know for radio DJ broadcasting? So there's two things, just to be clear for Leonzo, there's two things we need to separate here, because you have radio DJs, radio jocks that are basically the people, and they call them radio jocks, radio DJs, but they're basically people who host a radio show and they're talking, and they might also play music, but they're not DJing. So they'll talk and then they'll play a record. And most of the time that record nowadays will just be in the computer, and they just flick a switch or open a fader and fader start a song. So they're not DJing. So I'm not sure what type of radio DJ broadcasting you're talking about. Like I said, like the DJing I did on most of the radio gigs that I had, and I've had several radio gigs, I was doing a mix show. So I do talk a little bit, but most of the times I'm actually just DJing with a DJ set. So as a club DJ, how do you get into DJing for the radio? I mean, I'm not sure. I would have to say it does start with networking. You have to, all right, so you have to find out, like with radio, we'll get to online radio in a second, but with like radio, wherever you live, what are the radio stations? And are there radio stations there that play the music that you play as a club DJ? Do those radio stations also have DJs? So if you have stations and they don't play your music, no need to check there. If there are stations that play your music and maybe they don't even have DJs, you could reach out and approach them and see, or just check their programming and see if you think that there could be a possibility that you could add some value to that station. I mean, you have to connect with the people. So I said networking, but I'm not even sure where you're going to meet those people. So first off, you just need to do some research to find out what the radio game is in your area. For instance, here in the Netherlands, when it comes to hip hop and R&B, there's just not a lot of options when it comes to radio, because most of our radio stations don't play hip hop and R&B. Some of the major pop stations, they will play whatever is like a number one hit in the US, and they'll start to play that here. So some tracks will get play, but they don't have like hip hop or R&B playlists. That's only like minority of the stations. So here you can't really go to a lot of places, and then you have to check, do those stations even have like mix shows? And some do, and if they do, that means their slots are already filled. Some places you have a lot of radio stations that will play that music, so there could be more options there. Now you have online radio stations as well, and you're just gonna have to reach out to them, just find out what their contact is and just reach out. That's all I can think of now, to be honest. Super general question from Jason, but do you have any tips on combining family life and DJing? Communication. Communication is key. On top of that, communication and planning. Let me say that. Communication and planning. Like family life, especially if there are children in this scenario, you can't just spontaneously go to the studio and practice for 6 hours. Or just say like, I feel like making beats now, and I'm gonna make beats for the next couple of hours. It's not an option. It's just not an option. Everything has to be planned. Same for me. I mean, I have like I stream on Mondays and Wednesdays. Those are also the days that most of the time I'm spending in the studio, because most of the times this is when I can, because the wifey is taking care of kids. Like, she's going to pick up the kids from school and do all that. Now, sometimes it doesn't work out, and then I have to run over here after she gets back from work, and then I can't spend the studio day here. Or I'm going to have to like check the schedule and maybe see if I can get get grandma to babysit, even though that job is getting easier because the kids are getting older. But still, I need someone there. I can't do anything on the fly. I have to check in advance. Like if I have a meeting, I had a meeting yesterday, days in advance, I have to make sure like, hey, can you pick up? Well, just the youngest, actually. The oldest does it by himself. But yeah, communication. You have to communicate and make sure you're paying attention. Like if there are signals that are telling you that your significant other might not be happy with the amount of time, quality time that you have, sometimes it's not being said yet, and then you still have to be on the lookout for that. But your communication can help a lot when it comes to that. That's a super general tip for that question. I'm a dad now, and I'm trying to juggle both. Yeah, I mean, and look, and if you're a new dad, and we're talking about a new child, so a baby, yeah, man, that's a different story altogether. Like we are out of that phase. You know, they're 10 and 14, so it's a different time now. There was a time when that was not the case, and the youngest was going to like a preschool, but that preschool was only like a couple of hours. So you bring him in the morning, a couple hours later, you have to go pick him up, go back home. A couple hours after that, the oldest one, his school is out. You have to go back, pick that one up, go back and forth. It's easier now, you know, like I said, the oldest one, I don't have to pick him up from school anymore. That time has passed. So yeah, it helps. But now in this early stage, look, I felt blessed that I was doing the stuff I did because it allowed me to actually plan my time around it. So I spent a lot of time with my kids when they were young. It did mean I had to sacrifice sometimes a bit of sleep because I would have to do work after that. I've also had plenty of days, especially when they were young, that you're spending all day with the baby. And anytime when the baby falls asleep, that's when you actually should get some work done. But sometimes you're just as tired as the baby. So you want to do work, but you're also really tired. And you go do some work. And then you're like, okay, let me just close my eyes for a second. And the moment you close your eyes, you hear that noise. Yeah, I've been there, bro. I've been there. All right, let's see. Mo says DJing in Korea, play trap, urban, old school hip hop, new school, max crowd, 200 people, play mostly in the club. So yeah, I mean, you have the experience. So if you're doing an audition because they're interested to hear what you do, just do what you do. And then in the beginning, I thought you were like a new DJ and you were given a chance to do like sort of an audition, but you have the experience and you play. Now, it could be that how you play in Korea is different from where you're auditioning, or are you just playing there and auditioning there? I'm not sure. But yeah. So Jefferson, I have no idea what DJ pools to recommend for beginner DJs because I don't know if there's a difference in pools for beginners or like pro DJs. I do know, like last week, I actually took the time to take a look at some DJ pools, and like with half of the DJ pools, I couldn't even check or see because they wanted me to sign up first, which I was not planning to do. I was also shocked when I saw some of the prices. Some were like more expensive than I would have thought. And that there are a lot out there, but I couldn't really tell what most of those had. So I'm not sure what DJ pool would be a good one for beginners, honestly. I don't know. So if the chat maybe has a suggestion, holla at Jefferson. Okay, Ray, you already saw those or heard those episodes. Got you. More curious about the recording and editing. Got you. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. That's something I have to do in video form because I can do a podcast and like explain what I do step by step, but I think it's much better if you can see it. John's Entertainment in the building. I see you. Salute. DJ Conspiracy with the follow. Much love. I see you. Daryl Williams says, yes, my own. Damn it, I forgot. What was Daryl talking about? Scroll. That happens sometimes. Okay. Own sound system. How do you recommend approaching? Yeah, your own event. Got you. I mean, I've done my own events, and at that time, it wasn't that I was bringing equipment, but I did look for like small bars and venues that had like maybe that could be a suitable place to do a party. I mean, you're gonna have to do research and just see if there's any like spots in your area. So first off, if you're gonna do your own event, my first piece of advice is to start small. That's what I always say, start small, because there could be nice venues in your area that maybe can pack like hundreds of people. But if you're going to do your own event, or you're going to have to tell me now that you have like a database, like a list with like 1,000 people, and you know if you send out one email blast that you're going to get at least 400 people to show up, then it's a different story. Otherwise, if you don't have that, you want to make sure you start as small as possible, because you don't want to have a nice big venue and have a couple people in there, which makes it look extremely empty. And then the people who do show up are going to spread the word that there was nobody there. When you start out small, it's easier to fill up the space, and the people who are there are going to have a better, more cozy time because it is filled. They can spread the word. And if you do that multiple times and you get to a point that there are more people showing up that can fit in, then maybe you can start expanding. But make sure you don't start too big. That's one of the first things I have to say. Now, I have no idea if there's a specific way you should approach the venues. But first off, you have to look for venues that aren't too big. Then see what they normally do, and if they maybe already attract a crowd that would be suitable for what you do. And otherwise, if it's a place that you know is easy to reach for people, that if you do start to do promo amongst your friends, that this is a place they can easily reach. But again, start small. DJ Charlo says, I still got my dicers. I still have mine, but they're not working anymore. I don't know. They died on me. Used them with my 909, which I have here, which also died on me. I had good times with that 909 and my dicers. I used a Reloop Neon USB modular pad with my S11 because you can't use the sampler on the S11 when you're playing regular vinyl. Okay, got you. Yep. So you got plenty of stuff to control, plenty of stuff, that's for sure. Wait, my sandwich, what up? Patrick Morgan says, what up? What speakers are you running right now? So here in the studio right now, I have a Pioneer RM. Well, you can see one here, actually. That is the Pioneer RM7. But that is a studio reference monitor. I used to have a dual setup here. I used to have my Yamaha NS10s here. And where am I? There. And the RM7s. But I actually moved the NS10s to my house just to have some speakers there. So this is the setup that I have now. I do miss it because if I'm working on music here, I did really enjoy being able to switch between the NS10s and the RM7s because the sound is totally different. So I do miss that, but they just took up too much space here, the NS10s. And I needed some monitors at home. So at a certain point, I would like to get something similar to NS10s to have here, but something small. So maybe something like the, what are they called? The something like the Oratones, or just like the small cube joints. A good day to DJ Big V. Salute, fam. And Joe DJ has a question. Stupid question. I'll be the judge of that. Turntable/controller height. Should it be at waist level or a little above to effectively DJ? Is there a height that's too high? That is super, super personal. Like, you have to find out what works for you. Now, you want to make sure you have it high enough that you don't have to like arch over. Like, I'm not gonna put his name out, but there's like a DJ on IG who's always sending me like little videos of him DJing, And like, I swear, it looks like the setup is like below his freaking nuts, yo, like super low. And I've played at venues that had the setup that low, and it's terrible for your back. You have to like constantly bend. So I normally have them in a position that I can stand like straight up, and I like them pretty high. And I've played with DJs that are a lot shorter than I am, who were playing on my height, and they had to like almost elevate their hands. But that was the way they like to play. Maybe it's they just learned to play because they always had to play on high tables. Like if you're short, a table could be high for you when it's like low for me. But that worked for them. So I mean, your specific height you have to find out. But like waist level, I would say is probably still too low. I would go a little bit higher, but you have to find out what feels right for you. Tips for negotiating pay. Current pay is a percentage of what the bar makes for the night, but I know that my skill is worth way more, and my set is bringing in many people off the street consistently. Yep. Well, look, I don't know if this is in the same place, DJI, that you're doing that, but if you know for a fact you're bringing people in and you know your worth, you're going to have to discuss that. You're going to have to discuss that. So like one of your, I wouldn't call it leverage, but like one of your selling points would be like, yo, I'm bringing the people in. And I mean, it's so difficult. Like some places will give you like a percentage of the bar. Some places can give you a percentage of the door. And maybe there's a way you can get a percentage of the door and the bar, like that you can somehow work out something that like, look, you have this amount of people that come in, anything above that, I get like a certain percentage of that. Or you just want to have a flat fee on top of that bar fee. But if you know you're worth more than they're paying you, you know, in the beginning, it can be cool to like build a reputation and stuff. But if you know you're bringing people in, you know your worth, you have to try to get what you're worth. I mean, like negotiating tips, I don't know. But if you know for a fact that you're bringing in many people off the street consistently, they should know that as well. You need to bring that up with them. So yeah, Daryl Williams, you would like to use your own sound system to start an event, but could use advice on approaching promoters and bar and venue owners. My one thing is, why do you want to use your own system if you're going to approach bars and venues? Because they normally have systems, right? I'm just saying because I'm not sure if it's going to be worth it for you to go to the through the trouble of bringing all of your own gear when places already have gear. BJ Events, I appreciate that follow. That's what I'm wondering. Like, what's the specific use of that? It could also be that certain venues aren't even too happy with that. Like if they have their own setup, they might not want people to come in with other gear that they're going to set up. I'm not sure. Depends on what we call venues. In my eyes, a venue is like a club. But I mean, I'm beyond that. I'm not sure if I have any specific advice when it comes to approaching. I mean, first off, you have to just like reach out and get to know them. So you have to go to those bars and venues and meet the people there. Introduce yourself, meet the people there, find out who is the promoter, who is the owner, and maybe even build up like just a normal casual relationship first instead of just contacting a club like, hey, I have equipment, I want to do an event. I mean, I'm not even sure if they're gonna, like I said, I have no idea how they feel about people bringing their own equipment to like a venue. I've never done that before. And the places where I did do my own events, it was because of networking that I just ended up with someone who just happened to have a bar somewhere. And I was like, hey, I've been looking for a place to do something. And because we were talking, I could find out like during a conversation that they were into that type of music, or maybe that they've seen me play at a certain event. And that is like a trigger like, hey, I've been looking for a place to do something. Maybe we can do something here. And if they were like at least showing a bit of like a positive reaction, take it from there. So networking led to just me getting the places. I did not start out like, okay, I want to do a party. Let me find a venue now. It did kind of happen just by me communicating with people. So I don't have specific advice like to reach out. Let's see. Fastest flickering man alive. I'm a beginner DJ. After mixing for a few minutes, my mixers start to sound bad and I get discouraged, Darian says. How did you stay motivated when you were a beginner? But I mean, first off, I was just, I don't know. I just loved doing it. I just had mad fun doing it all the time, even when the mixes weren't working yet. I just wanted to do it again and get it right, and do it again and try to get it right. So, but you say you start mixing and after a few minutes, it starts to sound bad. So what exactly is going wrong? Do you have any idea of what is actually going wrong? What is making it sound bad? Are the transitions just not working? Are you not able to make the tracks play in sync yet? What is making it sound bad? But like I said, for me, I didn't need motivation. I was just really happy doing what I was doing. I just loved playing music, finding out how I could like mix it together, trying to emulate scratches, and I could do that for days and weeks and months and years. Have you updated your online DJ school? My online DJ school? Robert, I'm not sure what that is. I mean, I've never had an online DJ school, so I'm not sure what you're talking about here. Oh, okay, B and J. I read the first part that you've been practicing for 3 years, but then you said, I think I don't practice enough, maybe once a month. That is where the problem starts. Practicing once a month, we basically can't even call that practicing. You have to start spending more time on that, because if you've been doing it for 3 years, but you practice once a month, I'm not saying you did it for 3 years like that, but that would be like 36 practice sessions. That's nothing. That's nothing, especially if you have a long time in between. If you did 36 practice sessions in a row, that's a totally different outcome. But if there's like a couple of weeks in between, you're going to take like it's going to take you time before you even remember what you did last time. Do most radio stations to say Iowa music you can play? Whoa, I don't know what happened with that sentence. Leonzo, do most radio stations? I got you. Camera. Hey, come on, Cam. I'll let your boy. There we go. Leonzo, I'm not getting that sentence. Do most radio stations to say Iowa? Lowa music you can play? So I'm not sure. Oh, okay. There we go. Do most radio stations decide what music gets played? Well, to an extent, if you have a radio station, radio stations will have a certain policy or certain theme. So certain radio stations do not play hip hop. So in that case, they decide what that hip hop can be played. Some stations will only play like rock, or only play music that is like up to a certain energy. So they don't want anything that's too aggressive, because they're more like a lounge type of radio station. Some radio stations want to keep it really commercial, so they don't want you to play any like underground stuff. Everything you play has to be like really well known. So to that degree, but for all the stations that I played for, they did not decide what I played, because they wanted a hip hop R&B DJ to play hip hop and R&B the way I play it. So I got to play the way I played. Ed Random says DJs have no business on the radio. I would love to hear why you think that, Ed Random. I would love to hear what's the reasoning behind that. DJ Trish, what's going on? Eve says, my collection is big enough, but it's the new stuff. Back in the day, I will buy it, But if I look at all the records I have, 50% I don't play them anymore. So I see it more like throwing money away. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but okay, so you do have music, but you just don't have the new stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think probably back in the days we maybe just bought too much without truly checking. Like, there's a difference between just being a music lover and buying music that you would like to listen to, and being a DJ and buying tracks for DJing. Like, at a certain point, I've had a couple of years that I've missed out on certain albums and music a little bit for a couple of years, because I just went to the record stores like 3 times a week, and I was just looking for songs to play in the club, and I wasn't really paying attention to anything else. So for some, it's the other way around, and they'll just buy a lot of stuff that they like, and then they find out that like most of the stuff is maybe not stuff that they play when they're in a club environment. So maybe just buy some records and be really picky about it. Vinyl Touch says, I'm new. I'm in the new child boat. Got to step back for a minute. Yeah. And DJ Conspiracy, I don't know if I shouted you out yet. I appreciate that follow. Costa Rica says, wifey has made it clear that me DJing is just a hobby, in all caps. Her cousin's husband used to be a very busy reggae DJ in the 80s to the 2000s, and it wasn't really pleasant for her. So wifey doesn't want to be in that position. Yeah, I mean, look, it does depend, though. Like, if, let's say you're a DJ, and I haven't really been in that position, certain DJs will play like 5 times a week. Now, if you're playing 5 times a week and you're also in that family life, or even if you're just in a relationship, it's going to be rough. Or you have to be in one of those relationships where you have a partner that actually loves coming to the gigs with you, and that way you're still kind of together. But yeah, like, I can understand if someone has a really busy schedule and they're always away. It doesn't even have to be DJing. It could be something else. That could be rough. And certain people can live with that. Others can't. I mean, you also have people who have a partner who is, for instance, captain on a ship. Those people can be away for a couple of months. Then you have people that are related who are in a relationship with someone who's in the army, and they might be gone for like months at a time. So it's not just DJing, but I understand, like I understand that your wifey is not looking to be in that position. All right, so Vinyl Touch has a nice little thing going on here. Let's see. DJ Pool for beginners is reasonable price, quickly accessible packs to build a collection, and a low bar to enter. DJ Proof. Do the pools? Is there actually a pool out there that is strict with that? I remember using multiple DJ pools, and they all wanted that DJ Proof. I wonder if any one of those actually checked, because I would write down like the radio station I was playing at here in the Netherlands. These are all US based DJ pools, or Canada, and like my local venues. They don't know the venues. How are they gonna check if I'm playing there? So I don't even know if they really check, or if it's just something they have there so that they can have proof towards the labels that they only allow DJs. Young Peso says, is an iRig good enough to go live on Instagram? Yeah, for sure it should be. Like, anything you can use to get your audio into your phone without using like the microphone on your phone is going to improve your audio so much. Yeah, Costa Rica, I understand. Like, if he was never home and she had no help with their son, yeah, I understand. Wifey's living her cousin's PTSD. Yeah, no, I understand totally. But yeah, I mean, Young Peso, I see that Mixmaster G already said it. Unless you play only your own produced tracks, there's not even going live on Instagram without being taken down. iRig is fine, but yeah, I mean, I haven't done it on Instagram in forever, so I'm pretty sure it's not working well. The Mike Harris, I appreciate that sub. 7 months in a row. Much love for that. DJ Conspiracy 1, I just got the Rev 7. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on it, or what do you like about it? Or should I change it for an SRT? So I'm pretty sure that you haven't been following me for, or haven't checked in a while. Because if you watch me for the last months, you've basically seen me put the Rev 7 on a pedestal and damn near pray to it. I love it. Absolutely love it. I have an SRT here. For me, there's no comparison. That's because I love the spinning platters. So Rev 7 all day. And I don't have a Rev 7. I had it here. It's back to Pioneer. It's incredible. For me, it's incredible. And the 1000 SRT is a very good controller. It is. It's a very good controller. I did a set on in a live stream a couple of weeks ago. It's a dope controller. But that Rev 7 for me is indeed, as Mike Harris is saying, the Rev 7 is the truth. I co-sign that 1000%. So Dub TV, yeah, like I was saying, like the Share the Knowledge podcast, I was on a roll. Then I did episode 92, recorded that. Long episode, and I was doing the edit, and I was listening, and I was just not happy with the content. It was not good enough. So I decided that I needed to shoot it again. And after that, I haven't shot it again. So yes, 10th of January could very well be the latest. I'm going to look here right now. Episode, 91 is from January 10th. So yeah, man, I was on a roll, and I love doing the one topic per podcast, but I kind of got stuck. Sometimes that happens to me though, and then I have to get over a little hump to just get back into it. But I need to find a little bit of a better workflow for it, because I do realize that when I record, I have basically nothing prepared. I had like a couple of pointers for the last episode, like this is what I want to cover. And episode 92 was all about choosing your DJ gear. And I had some pointers, but I just found out like during recording that I was doing too much rambling, and I went a little bit too much back and forth. And when I was doing the edit, I was just like, okay, this is a mess right now. It's not making enough sense. There were too many points that I wanted to talk about, but during the talk, I just discovered like I actually need to double check some things, so I don't have the correct info. And when I was listening back to the edit, I was like, nah, this doesn't feel right. So, I mean, you don't always have to be critical, but in this case, I felt like, okay, if I really want to add value, I have to make sure that I'm dropping something here that actually makes sense, and otherwise not drop it yet. So yeah, I've fallen behind on that one, unfortunately. Eve says, look at Noise back in the days at DMC. It always looked like he was hurting his back. Could very well be. Noise was crazy, though. It definitely is. My goal would be BBQ DJ during the summer. That would be perfect for me, but I'm not getting real gigs level yet. But with the kids being older, I'll include her in the gigs so she wouldn't be home alone. Yep. Darryl Williams says, start small and grimy, build it up. Yes. Yeah, Vinyl Touch is summing it up perfectly. The SRT reflects the CDJ 2000 and the Nexus 900 setup with a little adjustment to make it more Serato suitable. Because if you want that, what you're describing here, it would actually just be the DJ 1000. And it's a really good controller for that. But if you want to have the turntable DJ MS7 feel, Rev 7 is the way to go. Mike Harris says, I took a private scratching lesson from DJ Vec the other day and learned a lot. I can imagine. Yep. Pitch is very important, which is a key I was missing, even though I know some scratches. How long it takes to get proficient at scratching? I think that's going to be different for everyone. Like for some, the learning curve is just way steeper than for others. Some people catch on quick. Some people have just naturally have, I'm not pointing at myself, by the way, but some people have naturally a better feel for rhythm, which really helps out as well. So I don't know. It depends. And it depends on how much you practice. Like, for instance, if you practice like once a month, anything is going to take longer compared to when you practice every day. So it all depends. How much time do you spend practicing? How much feel for rhythm do you have? And how quickly do you catch on? Your hand coordination, how's that? Like I came from a position of drumming, so I was already used to having hand coordination where you're doing your hi-hat, but you're doing your snare. So you're doing different things with both hands, but they're still rhythmically combining. That helped out when I started to do scratches and I had to do like, okay, now I'm doing a movement here, but I'm doing a different movement with my fader. Sometimes the same movement. It helps. And a feel for rhythm was there. And yet pitch is something that can also play a role, like to change the sound of your scratches. You could be doing the same, even if you're just doing a baby scratch. If like one of the babies out of every 4 is like a little bit faster, creating a higher pitch, now you already have a different sounding rhythm to it. But yeah, Vec knows how to scratch for sure. Goranga, what's going on? Salute. And Arm TV in the building on YouTube. Not on Mixcloud this time. Hey, Mixcloud. My apologies, Mixcloud. Damn, DJ Knowledge. I should have known you were there. My bad. I'm seeing you only now. All right, let's see. And Knowledge actually had a suggestion for the speakers, powered Mackies or some powered Eons. And what clubs are doing is getting DJs to audition for a night without paying them. So the club is getting a DJ for free, which is wrong. Oh, damn. I'm okay. I got you. So I didn't even think of that. Like, in my head, I saw like a venue during the daytime with like a promoter and a club owner and a DJ coming in and doing like a 20-minute set just so they can hear the DJ. But no, I understand. Of course, they're bringing in the DJ. They're bringing you in. I forgot who asked. I know you're in there. To come play as a quote unquote audition. You're not getting paid for that because you're auditioning, and then basically they get a free DJ. Now, I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but I can see that as a game plan for certain promoters. Yeah, that's messed up. And wait, my sandwich with a question. I bought my first turntable last week. Is there any way to DJ on that in Serato or virtual DJ? Like on CDJs or controllers. I'm a rookie on DJing, but I want to try something like this and have fun. Depending on the rest of your equipment. So if you want to use your turntable as a DVS, so digital, wow, how did I get there? Sorry, rephrase. Question first, what else do you have? You just have a turntable? Or do you have your mixer already? And what mixer do you have? Because DVS, a digital vinyl system, will allow you to use your turntable to control Serato. You're going to need control vinyl, and you're going to need something to activate Serato. That used to be like the boxes, the SL boxes, even though they're not going to be supporting those anymore. So you would need a mixer, like a mixer that will allow you to use Serato. There's plenty of mixers out there that will do that for you. But do you have a mixer already? Let me know that first. And which mixer do you have? DJ Kujini, don't get discouraged. Back in the days, all we had was 2 hi-fi decks with no pitch control. If you love it, you will stick with it. For sure. For sure. I can't remember feeling discouraged at any time during practicing. Now, maybe there were moments that I could like get just like maybe like semi frustrated if you're trying something and it's not working. but not to a point that I'm like, this is not working. I don't know what to do. Same thing with basketball. When I was a kid, I used to be out with that ball at a local court here every day. Sun, rain, snow, didn't matter. I would go out. And sometimes you're practicing a shot, and the shot is just not going in. That can get frustrating. I mean, I've thrown my ball like across across the court, like towards houses like these. You're just mad for a second, but then you get the ball, and either you go home then, but I'll be out there the next day, bright and early, going back at it. Same thing with DJing. Like, I've never felt like discouraged. Okay, let's see. Adam Steen says, I do remember you talking about a DJ course. Yeah, so maybe the online DJ school, maybe he was referring to the DJ course, which I have not released. So if you want to update on that, the update is actually that I'm dropping the DJ course this year, but I cannot give you a date yet. Most likely, this will be around August. That's all I can say now. Earl Whiff says, look at digital vinyl, Serato, Denon DS1 are similar. So yeah, the boxes work now, but like that's a story I heard, and I still haven't fully looked into it. They stopped support for the SL1 years ago, but now Serato was stopping their support for the SL2, 3, and 4. And I think the same is going to count for the DS1 and the one by Pioneer, but I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, and Earl, I use Phase, similar prop, less trouble. The only thing is you still need to have like the compatible mixer to make Serato work. That's why I was wondering about the mixer. Find Mobile Sounds deciding what must to play on radio stations. Are we talking about A&Rs? I mean, some radio stations will have those, depending on how big that station is. Some will, yeah. And with some radio stations, it's scary, but with some radio stations, it's going to be that they have a lot of their revenue comes from advertising, and you'll have the marketing department chiming in like, hey, not enough people listening when that type of music is being played. We need more of this music because more people tune in, and that works for the advertisers. I mean, there's all sorts of radio stations with all sorts of policies and all sorts of different motivation. A lot of times money does play a role in that, of course. Hotspin says, I have a problem with my mixing. I have a new DDJ 1000 SRT and a new laptop, but most of the time I DJ for a long period, my audio starts cracking, and I don't know what's the reason. Okay. And everything new. That's weird. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's weird. Let's see. Five Mobile Sound says, music today dies off too fast. The time span for new tracks are more trendy, like 0 to 3 months. Back in the day, songs were hot for a whole year, maybe more. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with the fact that there's so much coming at you all the time. Like, as just like a regular listener, consumer, there's so much music coming at you all the time. And I mean, back in the days, that was just different. Like, if you were an artist and you were making music, you would like build an album, you would have a couple of singles, and one single would get like a release date. Maybe at a certain point you had like a video for that, and you would have the video, the single release, the DJs would have the promo already, of course, and then you would let that single have its run. They wouldn't put out a new single like a couple of weeks or months later most of the time, unless the single was a dud and did nothing. Then maybe they try to follow it up fast, but normally they will let it play, and you would have tracks that would be in like the hit list for 10 weeks, 20 weeks, whatever. And now artists also will like drop tracks like that. Bang, new track. Bang, new track. Just trying to get that traction, get the people over there. And it may work for them from a streaming perspective, because if they drop a bunch of tracks, and at a certain point they might have that one track that really pulls people in, and then they start to listen to everything on Spotify. But that doesn't really help us in the club. But look, I can't really speak for the last 2 years because we hardly had gigs. But I feel what you're saying. Like overall, attention span is like so short now. And that's going to reflect how people consume music as well. KMT was good. Uh-huh. Louis, I see you. DJ. Was good. Moral of the story, make the switch to Twitch. Yeah. Okay, you got the Audio Technica LP 120. Nice. I mean, yeah, Peso, you're better off doing Twitch. And you could do that from your phone as well with that iRig for sure. And I mean, that will allow you to play. With Instagram, it's just Instagram, Facebook. It's rough. DJ Hughes was good. But do you already have the iRig, Young Peso? Or are you thinking about getting that? Because if you don't have that yet, there are other options available, like Mixmaster G also mentioned, and there's more. I think Guranga also mentioned something, I think. Robert Rosado said that's the link, but I don't see a link. Or maybe I missed something before this. I'm not sure. Trom 646 says that's all I need. I'm buying the Rev. Yeah. John Doe was good. Mo1. I'm considering getting a Shure SM7B for my Twitch streams. Would be connected directly to my Pioneer DDJ 1000 SRT controller. Would that be a waste of money? Currently using an SM58. I would stick with that SM58. If you're using it just to MC while you're DJing, I would say the SM7B is overkill. It's a great microphone. I'm not sure if you can actually connect it straight. I mean, you can connect it to the controller, but I'm not sure if you're going to get the volume you need. Maybe you do, but if not, then you're going to have to add a cloud lifter to that as well to boost the volume on the SM7B. But like for a DJ set, I would just continue with your SM58. Instead of going with that SM7B. Same for me. Like I use the pod mics for my DJing because I have 2 pod mics. But I didn't get them for DJing. I got them for podcasts, for live streams like this. And they do a fine job for the DJ live streams as well. But these are way less expensive compared to an SM7B. But if I didn't have these, or if I only had one, then I would probably just leave this one on the desk. And I would grab one of my Shure SM. I have a 58. I think I have a 57 here as well. Or my V7, which is basically the same thing. Because those are made for live shows. Those are made for stages. When an SM7B really isn't. Arm TV said, do you have your merch on Amazon? No, I don't. No, so I have my merch on my website. And I have the same type of merch that I'm selling through Teespring on YouTube. So it's the same design. The shirts are a little bit different between the two. For the ones on my own website, I use Printful. And Teespring, I don't know if Teespring does it themselves or if they have a different company doing it. But I don't have it on Amazon, no. I saw your videos saying it was the best. A little anxious getting it. To be honest, I got it because of you. Hey, you're welcome, because you're going to really enjoy that. You're going to really, really enjoy that. I mean, I can't wait to have one of my own. And if I don't have one of my own yet, I'm just going to try to get that one from Pioneer here again so I can have more fun with it, because, man, it's dope. All right, here we go. Mike Harris is the same thing. SM7B needs a game booster. And the source it's plugged into. Yeah, like I said, like the Cloud Lifter. Because otherwise it doesn't really work. So, of course, if you get the SM7B and the Cloud Lifter, the audio is great. It is. It's dope audio. Do you need that for hosting a DJ set? Nah. At least in my opinion, it's not necessary. Like, these cost like $100, the pod mics. And hey, man, I'm perfectly fine with the audio I'm getting here. So, yeah. All right. Kuranga says, I have the chance of buying 2 used XDJ 700s for $0. Exchange from my CDJ 2000. Or 1 CDJ Nexus 1 for $250, used from a club and revised. I've never used XDJ 700s, so I'm actually not even sure which ones they are. I'm looking right now. Okay. I have to say, I'm not sure, but looking at the screen on that 700, that almost looks like you're getting more info compared to like an older CDJ model. I haven't seen like the CDJ 2000, like the Nexus 1 in a long time. Like I've only seen Nexus 2s for quite some time. Now, what I would say though, I'm looking at that screen on the 700. That's one thing. But for me personally, like, I'm looking at the jog wheel on that 700, and I don't know how the ones on the Nexus 1 are, but they have to be better than what's on this one. So, but I've never used the 700, so maybe these jog wheels do feel great, but I'm not sure. Jog wheels are important for me. Like the ones on the Nexus 2 are very nice. I like playing on those. The 3000s are next level. Those are my favorite. There goes my cam. Come back. Yes, sir. So yeah, the jog wheel on the 700 doesn't look that impressive, but I've never used it, so maybe it feels dope. Dub TV, salute. Yeah, it will come for sure. Hey, KMT, I feel you, man. Like the Rev 7 hella sexy, but you just got the SRT a couple years ago. Then the pandemic hit. Yep, I feel you. I mean, I can't go out and buy a Rev 7. If I could, I would have one here right now. So I feel you. I feel you. Wait, let's go back. What did I miss? Because I see Mike Harris is saying that it's fine if you don't use monitors. Just remember to get the most out of the mic. You need a cloud lifter. It's a great mic. Was Michael Jackson's favorite? Yeah, it was, but that's because it is more like a studio mic. But wait, did Mo one say he's not using monitors? Did I miss one of Mo one's? I don't see it. Oh, there it is. I have a Mackie Pro X10, but I need I stream all internal using my headphones on my controller. Don't use speakers and monitors. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But still, like I said, I mean, it's a great microphone. If you get a cloud lifter for you, it's great. But I would call it overkill for the microphone if you're doing it for DJ sets. But if you have the money, for sure, it's dope. Jamal says, I have a college party that is school sponsored. Should I run a playlist or ride the wave? I don't know. That's up to you. I don't know what your style is. Like for me, it is all about just reading that crowd and going off that. But then again, I know DJs who make a track list and go with a prepared set. I don't know. What do you normally do? How do you normally play? Ah, okay. Wait, my sandwich got you. So you have one turntable, but you don't have the mixer yet. It's just the turntable going into the amplifier. Yeah. So take it to the next step. You should, even though it has USB output, I don't know if that can do something for you. I don't think so though. Dang. I don't think that can help in this case, but I'm not 100% sure. But normally you would need to get a mixer that will work with Serato. Then you can connect the turntable to the mixer, get some time code vinyl on the turntable, and then you can control Serato. And you could actually start with one turntable. You could use that to control the deck. I have a video how you can play with Serato with one video, and I can show that to you. It's on my channel, but I don't believe you have use for it now because you're going to need a mixer. Now there are some pretty affordable mixers out there that will run with Serato now. That will activate Serato. I don't know off the top of my head which one the cheapest is, but there are a couple. Big V says the cheapest mixers to get will be the Akai AMX. Yeah, there you go. That's one of them. I tested that years ago. That's $250. Okay, I was thinking about the Numark Scratch, but that's $500. Okay. But then you have Serato just built in there. And is the S3 that expensive though? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, those are probably your least expensive mixer choices. The Numark Scratch, the Pioneer S3, and the Akai AMX, which is a really, really small device. KMT says, Jamal, that all depends on how you work with freestyle spinning. Yeah, like I said. Okay, so Jamal, let's see. I like to freestyle ride the wave. Well, hey, I mean, there you go. That's your answer already. You have a track list, but in the moment you like to change it up depending on the crowd. So that's your answer. Like, look, you could do a little research to find out what you think will most likely work for that crowd to make sure you have that music there. And even if you have some sort of idea of what you're going to do, just be prepared to ride that wave, like you say. Like if you're already used to that, like I would never advise someone who always plays with prepared sets to all of a sudden just go out and play freestyle. You have to learn how to do that. But if you're already used to that, that's the way to go. Just make sure you have the music there so you can go in different directions. Okay, Conspiracy says the SL3 and 4 still work, but you can't use the new version of Serato. Yeah, so basically the future for those boxes is not looking good. You could still use them now with an older version of Serato, but like for instance with newer versions, let's say you also have the option to play on a Rev 7 because you're going somewhere and they have a Rev 7, you would need the latest version of Serato to run that. But then if you after that want to use your SL3 or 4 again, that won't work, so you have to downgrade again. Yeah, it's unfortunate that they're not supporting those boxes anymore for future updates. Big V says, for the cracking, it could be that your songs are corrupt and your laptop picked up a virus and you have too much filling up your hard drive in your computer or too many tabs open. I mean, he said like it happens after a certain amount of time. So I mean, I find it hard to think that like if the files are corrupt, you should get that earlier. I have had it that if you like have your computer do too much work, if it's being tasked too much, for instance, too many open tabs, then your DJ software could be affected. So that could be a thing. So do make sure that your laptop is not doing other things while you're DJing, or at least not too many different things. Jay the Realist. What up? What up? Faka. What's the main topics about today? Well, everything DJ related. And we're going from left to right, from controllers to gigs to speakers. I don't know. We've been all over the place. Hey, Dr. Funk Juice, what's up? Good to see you. Yes, indeed. On Twitter and on Twitch and on Mixcloud and on Facebook and on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Rocking 6 places at the same time. And then we got DJ Mike L. And I have sometimes the feeling that your looks are more important for promoters than your music and your skills. For some promoters, that's probably true. Yeah. And I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. Now, luckily, that's not going to be for all, but for some, they'll look at looks. Okay, Daryl has a good point. The mystery cracking sound could be Windows 11. Sorry, many people are having issues after updating. So, was he running Windows 11? I don't remember, but that could be the case. And Jay the Realist says, I use a soundboard for my live streaming. It has a little more clarity. Mm-hmm. And DJ U says the 7B and 58 have a very similar capsule. Mm-hmm. But indeed, I would stick with that. Like you said, unless you're going to do like a talk show or a podcast, I mean, a SM7B will give you that different sound. And I mean, a lot of people like that radio sound. They see it in all the radio stations. And it has a great sound. But again, if you're going to connect it to something like that controller, you're probably going to need a cloud lifter for that as well. So it will add up. And I mean, I'm not saying this is comparable to a 7B, but I have seen I've seen a couple of videos of people using like this pod mic, recording with it, changing the EQ a little bit, and get something that sounded very similar to what you can get with a 7B. And again, like for $110, I mean, I'm good with this. I've never adjusted any of the settings. I'm using on the Rodecaster Pro. I'm using like a template for the pod mic, and that's everything I've done. I haven't changed anything about the compression or anything, and that's when I'm running the Rodecaster. Like if I'm DJing, I'm plugged straight into whatever I'm using, controller, mixer, and most of the times it sounds more than fine. Normally I don't have this on, but I was doing a quick voiceover, and then I do add it because it does take away some of the extra plosives and stuff like that. You can get really close to that microphone and get that warmer tone, even though I'm not a fan of the look. I love just seeing that. I love the look of that microphone. I think it's a dope mic. So you know what? The rest of the 0 minutes that we have left, we're going to use it like this because it is already 10. Let me quickly finish. Let's see what else we got here. Use my Galaxy S8 for my live streaming because it has an outstanding HD camera in the front and rear of the phone. And I use Twitch Mobile and Streamlabs Mobile too. My question is, have you ever used Streamlabs mobile? No, not yet. I will be testing. See, now I'm spoiled. I'm too used to this for now. I will be testing Twitch mobile in the near future. I'm not rocking with Streamlabs, so Twitch mobile I will check. Yes. And Big V says the Behringer, the U control, UCA 202, ultra low latency. If you use the right dongle to the adapter to your phone, it works very well. And yeah, that's super cheap. $20 or something like that. That is super cheap. Jamal says, I started in 2014, been watching DJ TLM TV. I watch all the beginner videos, put in my 10,000 hours, business is booming. Hey, that's great to hear. Love hearing that. Say what I feel. Are these episodes going on your podcast? No, the Share the Knowledge lives are not on the podcast, but they are all the replays are right here on YouTube. So they are on YouTube. So you can catch all the episodes on my YouTube channel. And I have a playlist. There's a Share the Knowledge live playlist, and shows are added to that. Leonzo says, is it true that DJs love scratching, but the people we play for don't? Depends. It depends. So if you're playing in a club and you're scratching too much, people are not going to be a fan of that. That's not what they came for. If you can add scratches here and there, people will either not really pay attention to it, or they'll actually like it, be impressed by it, whatever the case may be. But it's you have to really do it in moderation, or this has to be one of your calling cards that if DJs come see you, they know they're going to get that. If DJs come see Jazzy Jeff or DJ Premier or DJ Scratch, you know you're going to get great music, but you also know that there's going to be scratching. But even then, they're not spending like 5 minutes scratching, or they're not scratching even like 2 minutes in a row. They'll add it to the set. Let's see. Well, someone's making money off on you. Robert, was that for me? In that case, let me know. Enlighten me, please. How about headphones? We all talk about music and controllers, but headphones are one of the most important factors. What do you use for DJing, studio work, producing, or do you have a pair to suit all? No, I use different headphones. And we actually talk about headphones quite often here. And I want to test those new ones Pioneer just released, which kind of look like the Sennheiser HD25s. I forgot the name. So I have DJ headphones. I have a couple different ones. I still use my HDJ 2000 Mark IIs by Pioneer. Currently, I've been for the last, 4 or 5 months, my steady set for DJing is my III. That's the TMA 2. That is my go-to DJ headphone right now. So I have a DJ headphone, and then I have these reference headphones, which I use if I'm working on music and I'm not using speakers. If I don't have like reference monitor speakers, then I'm using these. These are my Q701s by AKG. Those are studio reference headphones. Those are not made for DJing at all. Not even really made for normal music listening, because you get tired listening because they are so detailed. And I have a couple of different like just basic headphones laying around. And the ones I use if I want to just zone out, listen to music, and the ones I always use when I'm working out are my QC35 Mark IIs by Bose. Those are my everyday headphones. So studio, IIs when I'm DJing, and the QC 35 Mark IIs when I'm listening to music or in the gym. And yeah, yes, you are late because we're about to stop. But good to see you. What's your advice to practice for a live performance or practice in general? I sometimes feel like I'm burning myself out from practicing too much for hours. I mean, I can't really relate because I've never had that feeling of practicing too much for hours. But if you have that feeling, you need to really watch it and make sure you're getting enough rest because that's very important. Um, Advice for a live performance or practice in general, I don't really have practice advice because I never had like a set practice regimen. I just played whenever I could and practiced whatever I wanted to practice. I never had a plan or anything like that. And like practicing a live performance is something I never really did either because I didn't know how to, because practicing playing for people is something you can basically only do when you're playing for people. So my practice sessions were my first gigs for people, which were basically like house parties, birthdays, bringing like vinyl and bringing a setup with friends and playing. But no, I never really got to practice for a live performance because I didn't even prepare sets from the very beginning. I've never just done that. Seymour, I appreciate that follow. I see you. And let's see real quick. Patrick Morgan says, would you ever do private parties like Sweet 16s or weddings? There is a possibility, and that is only if I'm being booked to play exactly the way I normally play. That's been the case with the weddings I've done so far, which were like 2, 3 in all these years. And those were like regular club gigs the way I got to play. So only in that case. Now, Sweet 16, we don't really have that over here in the Netherlands. But even if we would have a party like that, that would be something I don't see happening that fast, because then you're playing for a crowd of 16-year-olds who most likely want to hear a lot of music that I just don't really play. So that is less of a possibility than a wedding could be. Like if 2 people get married that used to come to the club when I was playing there, like back in the days, and they want to hear that because it reminds them of when they met, I'm all for it. Okay, so Hotspin is on Windows 10, so it's not a Windows 11 issue. KMT, speaking of downloading, I made the switch from DJ City to Beat Source and it works great. However, if I need to stream a track on the fly, would I need to do that on the site, or can I do it through the Serato Beat Source link? No, you could. Let's say you're playing and there's a track that you don't have in a playlist. You can just go to the search bar in Serato and make sure that the little B next to it is active, and then you can just search Beat Source from Serato and find any track on Beat Source right there from Serato. So then you're good to go. Costa Rica later. And Young Peso says Skull Candy are dope. People sleep on them. I mean, I've seen DJs play with a ton of different headphones, and we talk about it when we talk about headphones. Like you have all sorts of headphones being mentioned a lot. I've seen Skull Candy before, Beats by Dre, V-Moda, Sony's, so on and so on. And some people just prefer a certain headphone for a sound. Some just for the way that they feel, the way they fit their head, their ears. So, yeah, whatever floats someone's boat. I mean, you need to feel comfortable while you're DJing. That's the most important thing. Jada Reela says one of your listeners mentioned looks may attract a promoter more to get more gigs. I have to agree somewhat. DJs have always been the best dressers at events, in my opinion, because we always rock the latest fashion. Well, that depends on where you go. I've seen plenty of DJs that looked like, I don't want to say look like bums, but didn't look like the flashiest people. But, I mean, yeah, you do have a lot of those as well. Okay, so Boss Rubik says, I've watched many of your paid courses. Okay. I don't have paid courses. So I would love to know which ones you're talking about. Or are you talking about videos on the DJ Courses online site? That's the only place there that you can find material that I've made that's behind a paywall, because I make content for DJ Courses online, mostly tip videos, but I've also done one DJ course for them, how many years ago was that? Like quite a few years ago. So that's the only thing I can think of, because I don't sell courses yet. So I have one course that is on DJ Courses online, and like I have one routine on the Superhero DJ's website. That's it. Okay, I'm trying to learn the really, really fast stab scratch. The stab that just starts off the sample. I've done stab videos. I mean, basically, I have in my scratch tutorial, I do stabs. The technique is the technique. You just have to learn how to do it faster and faster and faster by practicing it. There's no difference between the slow and fast stab except for the speed, and the speed comes with practice. All right, Samer549. So I'm gonna read this, and hopefully I'll also understand it, because this is not my language. Hey, kurze Frage. Ich weiß, das kommt random. Bin auch relativ neu auf Twitch, aber hättest du Lust auf einen Song von mir zu reacten? Haben den Song unlisted auf YouTube hochgeladen, würde gerne ein paar Meinungen hören, bevor ich den veröffentliche. Alright. So Samer, I cannot answer you in German because I don't really speak it. So if I'm understanding correctly, you want me to listen to one of your songs and give my opinion. I think that's what you just said before you put it public on YouTube, because you currently have it unlisted. I hardly have time to listen to songs though. So, the translation is underneath. Would you like to react to an unlisted song from me? It's German rap. So give me send me the link in a message here on Twitch. I'm gonna click on it after I finish the stream. So yes, I'm gonna check it out, and I'll send you a message back there. Yo, Cardis, peace, fam. And Poverty DJ says DJ headphones suck for streaming. Open back biodynamic DT99 are awesome for streaming for multiple hours. DJ speakers obviously good when playing live. So why do you feel DJ headphones suck for streaming though? Just because of the way they fit? Vinyl Touch, see you next time. See y'all on Monday. Yo, for everyone, because I'm about to tune out, I'm back on Monday with Crates, and I'm doing an all vinyl edition. So make sure you tune in for that. All vinyl on Monday. Let's see. Do you have tips for me? I live in a building upstairs. My neighbors downside are grumpy. How can I stream even in the evening without stress and feeling restricted? Yeah, you got to go for low volume. So if you, I don't know if you are used to mixing in the headphones, because that is, of course, the solution. Or just have you just need speakers really close to you, so you don't have to have a lot of volume to hear them. I know to a certain degree it sucks if you don't have enough volume, because you might not feel the music the same, but that's probably the way to go though. Big Smash G, see you next time. And Poverty DJ, you say beat source is extremely limited. I have no idea what that means. In what way? Because they have a ton of music and you can use it in all DJ software. So how is it limited? Let me know. I don't like headphones with a lot of bass for DJing. It really doesn't make sense to reference headphone monitors, at least for me, are easier to mix with. Well, I can't disagree, because you're stating your preference, but I do prefer to have bass when I'm playing, especially during my streams here when I can't make a lot of noise either. I love to have headphones that make me feel it, because if I'm in a club environment, I'm gonna get more sound from the speakers and woofers in that club. Here, I don't have that, so I love having that in my headphones. I would not DJ with these ever, ever. These are perfect for reference and for when I'm like listening to one of my beats and I want to mix it down. But for DJing, for me, it doesn't feel comfortable. But I mean, that's what I said earlier. To each, you have to find out what works for you. Leonzo, see you next time. Big V says, I've seen a very famous DJ from out of New York City DJ a wedding, and he came in sweats. All right. Base Rubik's, got you. So it's probably DJ courses online. Yeah. So that is indeed the only legit place that has content of mine. And I still make content for them. I haven't made real courses for them. Like I have made that one DJ course. Then I've done a lot of tip videos. And the last thing I did there was the record box series. And I'm currently working on CDJ 3000 series of videos. That is coming there as well. Kujini. Didn't understand the word, but I felt it. Yes. Yeah, and I had to like I was reading it, but at the same time I was actually trying to comprehend and translate. So I got pretty close to what the message actually said. Kenobi 7 was good. Josiah, I see you. And Joe DJ, my pleasure. Salute. And let's see. Because we do have to end this in a sec. Hotspin says, I would really like to get a DJ drop. We'll appreciate it big time. Hotspin, send me an email. TLM@djtlm.com. So once again, TLM@djtlm.com. Hit me up. What if you use a sound bar to have more comfortable sound indoors? Hey, man, if that works for you, of course, go for it. So you say that Poverty DJ says it's limited as far as the record labels they have. It's nice for intros, outros, but there are not a lot of songs if you're searching because they currently don't have enough record labels. I don't know, but what kind of record labels are you looking for then? Because they have, it's okay for current hits and things of that nature. I don't know, bro. I mean, I found songs dating back to like 50s and the 50s and whatever. So, and what kind of genre music are you talking about that you're currently like missing? I say that because especially when it comes to like a lot of the hip hop and R&B, there's not that many labels because a lot of the labels are owned by the bigger labels, and they have a lot of music. That's all I can say. They have a lot of music. So yeah, that's interesting. Like what kind of labels are missing? There goes my cam. That's the last time I activated because I'm about to end it anyway. And Josiah, like DJ pools are missing older music because they're not supposed to have older music. That's the whole thing. They are there to have promo copies of new songs for DJs to play in clubs. They're not supposed to actually be there to provide us with music that's been released years ago. They used to have more old music, but now a lot of them are like catching heat for that. And you see like certain DJ pools are getting rid of their old school, or they didn't have it to begin with. Joe DJ, the faceplates I have here were made by 12-inch skins. They do custom labels. They do custom vinyl. They have deck plates and skins for basically any type of equipment. So ranging from controllers to turntables, mixers, but also like my machine, I could get that done there. They have a lot of different ones. I'm I mean, try using BeatSource, have someone request a song and see if you could find it. More likely you won't. That's what I'm not sure about, because like I found so much. Now, I haven't found everything. That is for sure. So I think it also depends on what type of music you're looking for. I think what I'm trying to say is for DJs that already have an established libraries from the 80s and 90s, BeatSource really doesn't have anything new that I don't already have. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't run into that issue. I've seen like a lot of different music there, and especially compared to Tidal. I mean, I can see that Tidal could have more, but like I can't search using parameters like between a BPM or just for certain genres and BPM like I can on BeatSource. And I mean, like just the other day, like a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, when I did like that Love edition during like Valentine, and I just went to BeatSource to look for songs that had like love in the title. And I don't know, like 130, 150,000. I don't know how much it was. It was no, I'm over exaggerating like crazy, but like thousands and thousands and thousands of songs came up. But let's see. I don't know specifically on the labels that are missing. I just know by using it for the past 2 months on Twitch, someone requests something, I don't have it, can never find it in the beat source. The best thing to do is, if that is of any interest to you, is to actually try to write some of that down and send it to them, because they want to get as much on there. So either they just don't expect that to be music that DJs are looking for. I'm not sure. And the requests, are those requests coming in? Are what genre are we talking about? And I'm just saying that because I've been using BeatSource for my streams for the last, I don't know how long, since they started. And I mean, it's worked well for me in a lot of different scenarios. Like when I wanted to do like a themed stream, I could find a ton of stuff. Now, I have definitely not found certain tracks when I was looking for them. That is a fact. So I would never say they have everything, because I know they don't. I have not double checked in those occasions if Tidal would have the track. But I know they always want to add more. But for my style of DJing and the fact that they have like all the intros and outros as well, that is just something that the other services don't have. But maybe you're right. Maybe if you are in a position where you're doing a lot of requests on the spot, then maybe they're not the best. That is definitely a possibility. But I know that they're always looking to add more. Like if they hear that DJs are looking for certain tracks and they don't have them, they want to try and get that for sure. Because it's in their best interest if they can get people to just know like, hey, you can find that and that and that as well. Stephen Bell. Been doing that all year. Yo, Cardis, a good point. So DJ I is heading out. I'm heading out myself. Got to get back to work. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I had a great time again. We talked about a lot of stuff. And DJ I, Poverty DJ, Josiah, Stephen Bell, Yo, Cardis, Wait My Sandwich. Let's see. Are your DMs on IG still open? Yeah, my DMs are always open, for sure. And you can't switch over services while playing. I know. That's one thing they need to fix. Shout-outs, more shout-outs. Big V. And the rest of y'all already left a second ago, I think. Hot Spin, salute to you. Joe DJ, Boss Rubix. And who else was there? Leonzo probably already left as well. And yeah, everyone, make sure you tune in on Monday. Crates, episode 56. It's going to be an all vinyl edition. So I got to get to this wall here and look for tracks. All right. Tune in next week for the Q&A again on Wednesday. But again, make sure you tune in on Wednesday. Yo, Daryl, I'm not speaking German every week, so that was an exclusive. Unless people start sending me all these questions in different languages, I could always try to read them. But if I understand them, that's a different story. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Peace.